Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today I want to speak out on an issue that I've stayed silent on, purposely. So it is the COVID-19 vaccine. I've stayed silent on this issue because, frankly, if anybody speaks out or says anything other than definitely you should get the vaccine, people are judged, criticized, and jumped all over. You see this on Facebook, on social media platforms. People can really be attacked for vocalizing an opinion. One of the other reasons that I've stayed silent on this issue so far is for fear of personal judgment and criticism here on this channel, but in my life, from family, friends, whispers, judgments, criticisms, possibly even attacks, angers. People's emotions rise, and that's not a good feeling, and that's one of the reasons that people stay silent when they shouldn't, right? For fear of what people may think of them, for fear how people might judge them, that they won't be liked, that they'll be abandoned, that they'll be shunned. That is one of our most basic human emotions, that we're afraid of that. We are afraid of that because without our family and friends, we can't survive. It's biological. It is not safe to go against the crowd. It is not safe to go against your tribe because you might die, you might not be safe, right? So it's a primal, but silence is never the answer. And that's what this video intends to do, is to raise awareness, speaking your own personal truth without fear. That's what freedom is. So just to be clear, nobody has mandated that vaccines, that you have to take a vaccine. Nobody has mandated this yet. So this is kind of a preliminary video saying, you know, now that I can see this rollout happening, I can see the potential for this happening, and I was hoping that it wouldn't get to this, but I'm actually becoming more and more convinced and more certain that this mandated vaccine rollout could be on the way. So I want to start by saying that so far to date, I have chosen not to vaccinate. It is my choice not to vaccinate. That's my personal choice. And it could change over time. I don't foresee that changing, but those choices really aren't affecting the message that I want to get out in this video. I just wanted to let you know what my choice is right off the bat. So now that the vaccine is rolling out, I have family members now getting the vaccine, people who are over 80, over 70, parents, grandparents, people, you know, starting to roll down into our families, and the pressure is mounting to fall in line, get the vaccine, and there are more initiatives rolling out and being worked on, you know, by governments, like vaccine passports. And I feel it's important at this point that we all just stop and take a minute and take a breath. COVID-19 has been a particularly challenging few years here. We are all going through this pandemic. We're all going through the emotions that go along with it. So obviously, talk and debate around this topic can be heated, and that's understandable. But let's try to have a video here that isn't filled with emotion, that's not triggered or fueled by underlying fear. Nobody wants to get COVID. We've all seen the news. We've all seen people dying. We've all seen it affect people that we know, loved ones, other people. We've seen the news. It's scary. It's fueling fear, confusion, overwhelm, sadness, grief. Right? There's a lot of feelings and emotions that are under. My feelings around the vaccine are as follows. Mandated vaccines, a mandated vaccine rollout is not okay. And here's why. Here's why I believe that it's not okay. And let me start by saying we are all just human. We are all here to love and to grow and come together and be able to live a healthy, vibrant life. That is what we all want, no matter what side of this issue that you're on. So please open your heart as you watch this video and know that we truly are all in this together. We may not share all these same opinions, But we all want the same thing, isn't that right? Health, longevity, love, joy, happiness. This video comes from a place of bringing together, not tearing apart. And it's okay to have different opinions in doing so. That is what makes us American, Canadian, whatever it is. That is what makes us free. I am glad that doctors and scientists are working on ways to stop a virus that is harming people and killing people. I think we can all agree that that is good intention of medical science to try to do. And we need to keep working on ways to stop viruses like this, whether they're natural or man-made. We do need good, honest scientists working to help bring solutions and ways that we can solve this crisis, this pandemic. I do believe that what's at stake here is not about a vaccine. What I want to speak to today is about freedom. It's about personal choice. It's about the right to choose. There are a lot of people out there over history who have fought for freedom, who have fought for your own personal liberty and agency over your thoughts and your own body and your own decisions, and that we have the right to choose, to pro-choice, to choose for yourself. This has gone back as far as I can remember in history. Now, when we're talking about a vaccine rollout, that could potentially become a forced vaccine rollout situation, this is where I take a step back and I say, this is not right. This is what has to be spoken out on. First, I'd just like to say there are always two sides to every situation, and there should be. My side, particularly, is against vaccines because I have personally been harmed by pharmaceutical medication. I've personally seen many hundreds and thousands of people, and I have also personally done the research and feel I'm well versed enough to speak that there are different adjuvants in these vaccines. There are different problems with pharmaceutical medications, and these can harm health. They can cause autoimmune conditions. They can cause other things. Now, this is not fact. I am not stating this as fact. I'm stating this as my own observation, my own personal experience, and the knowledge and research in which I have done and feel confident to speak about. So the pharmaceutical industry does harm people. That is a fact that is often not talked about, because we do trust doctors in this world, and we do, we have a society, we have a cultural society who believes doctors, who trusts doctors, and who puts our faith in them. And this is something that's not easily questioned or broken. It's been sort of bred into us since we were little kids. Don't question authorities. We don't question authority. We don't question doctors. We don't question these authority figures in our lives. The doctors, the medical officers, the government, right? We don't question them. Fall in line. We're taught to do as little kids. Respect. Follow the orders. Do what you're told. Don't question. Don't argue against people in positions of authority. They've earned respect, and therefore they have knowledge, and we need to listen and obey. And that's part of the, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem here, is that a lot of people run on autopilot. A lot of people's beliefs aren't their own. A lot of their beliefs are what they've been taught by their own family and what they've been programmed, really, to believe. And, right now we see it on the news 24/7, right? All the information about the coronavirus and now the vaccine. And a lot of this is, don't forget, television is called programming for a reason. And now we're getting 24/7 programming from news anchors and people in authority position. I think it's important here, especially right now. We're on the precipice, right? We're on the precipice of major change and major shakeup in this world. And what we do not want to happen is to be stripped of our personal freedoms and liberties. And I think it's important for every human being to just stop, take a breath, wake up to the fact that this could be happening, to question it and to think for yourself. This may be one of the most important videos I've ever done, right? The stakes are high. The stakes are high right now, all around, right? This is a challenging worldwide pandemic, and with that comes a lot of actions and decisions that could affect you and your family and your children. And one of the things that we do need to be careful is that our personal health, freedoms, and liberties aren't stripped or taken from us. So I urge you to watch this video with that in mind. Behind heart disease, behind cancer, death by pharmaceutical medications are the third leading cause of death. Okay, so this is huge, right? We have campaigns, we have awareness days, we have people raising money, we have everything going on for heart disease and for cancer, right? But as soon as you even question a pharmaceutical medication, particularly in this case of the COVID-19 vaccine, you should be looked down upon, judged, criticized, and basically rejected if you question these vaccines. And that's not right. So the opioid crisis aside, which kills, at least 50,000 people a year because of the pharmaceutical medications that are taken and prescribed by trusted doctors. Not all body constitutions are the same. And if somebody doesn't believe in the vaccine, if they don't feel their body is capable of receiving the vaccine, many injuries are being reported from these vaccines. It's still early days, and no proper trials have been done on this vaccine because we've needed to rush it to market because of this pandemic. But this is the human trial. Everybody going out and getting the vaccine, this is the trial, right? So this is still in the trial stages. This vaccine is we don't know the effects of what is gonna happen. And effects are rolling in, right? People are being harmed. Some people are dying after the vaccine. There's many things going on that, in a trial situation need to be looked at. They need to be tracked. They need to be discussed. They need to be talked about. And they need to be considered. What I believe is in informed consent. So for those of you who don't know what informed consent is, it is when you are given a medication that you have all the information in your hands before you make your decision. So you get the list of pros and the list of cons. You get the list of benefits and the list of risks. You are an informed consumer. You're an informed person. So what I believe is that before you inject anything into your body or somebody's body that you love, like your children, remember, we're all reacting out of fear, out of panic, and out of wanting to do the right thing for yourself and your family. But before you make a decision based in fear or otherwise, it's important that you stop, take a breath, and be informed. Take your time to be informed. What are the benefits? What are the risks? What are the pros of this? What are the cons? What are we seeing? What evidence is coming back? What stories are coming back, right? Because it's all important. Evidence is something that is scientifically studied with different variables. And then we have anecdotal evidence, which is real people experiencing benefits or risks based on their experience of what's happened to them after they've taken the medication, gotten the vaccine. It's important that we take the time just to gather information, just to see for ourselves and to read for ourselves. The problem is, I don't believe that information should be censored on either side. I think you have the right as a human being to all of the information. to all of the arguments, to all of the opinions that are out there. And then with that knowledge, you can make your own decision. Why are we putting the solution to a worldwide pandemic and crisis in the hands of people who have not yet been able to solve their own problem of creating medications like opioids and antidepressants and antipsychotic medications and also psychotropic drugs? Why, who have not even been able to solve their own problems of killing, maiming, and harming people? Why are we now putting all of our trust into the same people who have caused hundreds of thousands and millions of people to die every year because of the medications that they get? This is a question, a valid question that is okay for me to raise and ask, right? I'm not saying that we shouldn't be working on a solution, that they shouldn't be trying, but I'm saying you have the right to question whether it's a valid solution for you, whether this is the right solution, whether this medications and these vaccines could cause more harm than good. That is your right to be able to question that as a human being. It's your right to be able to investigate that, to look for evidence, to look for anecdotal evidence and stories and learn facts on both sides. It's your right as a human being. Me, personally, after what I've been through, personally, I have a first-hand account experience that leads me to have the answer no. It is not worth it for me and my family. The devastation that a pharmaceutical medication cost me and my family was heartbreaking. But I'm not here to convince you that the vaccine itself is not the right answer for you. That is not the point of this video. The point of this video is that you have the right to question. You have the right to information. You have the right to your own personal choice and your own personal liberty. This video is about freedom. It's about health freedom. And it is so vital. We are at a slipping point here. If we don't recognize something, we could go down the wrong road. We could have many personal freedoms stripped from us if we don't open our eyes and see the potential that a mandated vaccine program, a rollout program, could have, what the consequences could bring. And raising that point is okay. And raising that point is necessary. So, getting back to the original point of this video, if you're somebody who believes in the vaccines, you follow everything that the pharmaceutical companies say, you've taken the information from the mainstream channels, and you believe it in your heart and you don't even want to know the other side, that's fine, that's your choice. That is your choice, and no one's stopping you from getting the vaccine. But for those of us who put our hand up and say, this vaccine may not be for me or my family, I don't believe that putting this in my body is the right thing to do. I have concerns. I'm not willing to accept the risks, right? I read the risks and the benefits, and I'm not willing to accept the risks for me or my family. If somebody, after learning the information, comes to this conclusion for whatever reason, for their own body, they should have the right to choose. And choice is not, real choice is not, well, if you don't get it, if you don't get the vaccine, we're gonna roll out some sort of a program or a passport program where you won't be able to travel, you won't be able to go to restaurants, you won't be able to go here. Like, that is not a real choice. That is not a real choice, right? Saying, oh, well, we're not forcing anyone to get it, but therefore you're shunned from society if you don't get it. That is not a real choice, right? We have to stand for freedom, because your beliefs may not be true, and my beliefs may not be true, but yet everyone should have the right to choose for themselves, to have agency over their own life and their own body. I don't want to get coronavirus. I don't want my family to get coronavirus. But from what I know and what I've been through personally, I can't get the vaccine. Do I think that I should be shunned from society for the rest of my life if I don't? Absolutely not. That should be a choice. And I should be neither forced nor shunned from society for making a choice that may be unpopular. If it's my body, if it's the agency over my life and my own body that I need to make a decision over. So in this video, I am not telling anybody what they should do or they shouldn't do. I'm not telling anybody what is the right thing to do or what is the wrong thing to do. I'm telling everybody that you should be allowed to be presented facts, arguments, opinions on both sides. Nothing should be censored. It should all be fair game at this point, right? We don't want to go back to the days where somebody says, you know, the earth is round and everybody screams and no, it's flat. And how dare you argue against that? You're going to be killed, right? That is not where we want to go. This is like, everybody should get the vaccine. Well, maybe, but sometimes we need to question. That's actually the beginning of science, is when people question. People say, I don't know if I believe that. Bring me the evidence. And then science kicks into gear. What is the evidence? Let's do studies. Let's investigate further, right? Then there's arguments on both sides, right? Science brings an argument to the table first. So we need the arguments from both sides in order to do the real investigation and to get to the bottom of what is truth and what is not truth. Right, to see the evidence to point us truly in the right direction. Because if we never investigated whether the world was indeed round, look at all the things that we wouldn't know, right? Like, it's inevitable that we have to evolve and that we have to question and that we have the right to question, and we should question if we want our society to keep moving forward and we want to get to the bottom of the real answers and we want to keep evolving and we want to keep learning and growing. This censorship that's going on and the attacks on people who are questioning the safety of the vaccines and the vaccine rollout plan is not okay, right? For somebody else to tell you to stand over you and say you must be injected with something that clearly shows that there's risks to it, and if you don't say yes, you're going to be shunned from society. That's not fair, nor is it right. It's not American. It's not Canadian. It's not American. We don't want to lose these personal freedoms, our personal rights. And we certainly don't want a program that's mandated by the government or anyone else as to what we must put into our body and what we must, if we must inject or take a medication or a vaccine. That's a very slippery slope. Think about it, right? The people who are making the money off of these pharmaceuticals, who are creating problems and death and crises all over the world, we're going to put our trust in their hands and say, and allow them to tell us what we need to put in our body, even if there's known risks associated with that. That's not okay, and it's a very slippery slope for all of humanity. So I feel this is maybe one of the biggest issues of our time, that along with global warming and pollution and saving our environment, which is a whole nother topic. Personal health freedom. Health freedom is the last of many of our rights here in this world that we're not told what we must do by doctors, by pharmaceutical companies, or anyone else. And we must stand for our own personal freedoms and rights. We must stand to have informed consent, meaning we are given the information on both sides, we're completely informed, and then we are allowed to make our own choice. Just one more note. I know people out there will say, but it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone. So if you don't get the vaccine, I suffer, or my children suffer. That's not true. If you get the vaccine and you're so confident in the vaccine, that's wonderful. And the vaccine will protect you and it will protect your children. If your vaccine works, then you will be protected. Everyone who gets the vaccine will be protected if it works. And if it doesn't work, then why are we forcing people to get it? if you say, yeah, but it's not really that effective, then why must we force people to put something into their body that has risks attached to it if it's not a certain protection? If it's not even certainly proven to work, to be effective. So these are the things that we must think about, and we must have freedom to be able to discuss on both sides of the argument. This is how progress is made. This is how the truth ultimately rises to the top. And this is how we keep freedom in our country, in our homes, in our hearts, and over our own lives and bodies. So I hope that you understand where this video is coming from, and whether you agree with my personal choice at this time or not. I hope that you see that this video is meant to open the communication, that it's meant to say, maybe not, maybe we don't, maybe we shouldn't. It is meant to present an argument that is okay. It's meant to stand up for informed consent. It's meant to stand up for human rights. And so whatever you choose to do, wherever this decision comes from, whatever you believe, I hope that you do it with grace. I hope that you make the decision from a place of calm and not fear. I hope that you make the decision from an informed point of view, where you've looked at the risks. You've actually looked at the sheet that the pharmaceutical companies have that show clearly to date what the risks and the benefits are. I hope that you've weighed them. I hope that you've listened to arguments on both sides. I hope that you've taken into account anecdotal evidence. And I hope that when you make this decision, you have peace in your heart about it. And then I hope that that choice ends up being the right choice for you and your family. And I also hope that you don't pressure anyone to choose against their will, to make a choice that's not right for them, to bully or coerce people into something, to shun people for not believing what you believe, and for burying or censoring information or attacking another side who's just trying to present the truth as they see it. So this video is for informed consent. It's for human rights. It's for personal health freedoms. I believe it's an important video. I hope you do too. And I hope that whatever choice you make is the right one for you and your family, is filled with peace, and that you live a long, healthy, and prosperous life, because that is what we're all trying to do in the end. And I hope that we can come together with compassion and understanding and love in our hearts for each other, for the human race, as we continue to walk through these uncertain times, this pandemic, and as we come out the other side stronger, more free, more joyous, more healthy, and more able, and increases our capacity to love, to understand, and to open to differences of opinions. It increases our capacity as human beings to evolve and grow in love in this world. So again, I hope this video has been helpful, and I will see you in the next one.